Hey guys, I wanted to give you a quick rundown on my new chop saw table that I built. The previous one that I had was a lot smaller. It had some fold out wings on it to support the cuts of material, and I decided I wanted a little bit longer chop saw table. I'm moving to a bigger shop here shortly, so I want to just try to get some things ready, something that's going to suit me a little bit better. So we'll kind of get started. First off, I didn't really like how chop saws in general are kind of set up. They're set up with these cheap sheet metal bases and no swivel capabilities. A miter saw, you can cut here, turn it, you don't have to move the material. So I wanted to do that with my chop saw, and so I replicated the slots, and I used the old brackets that held the motor. I took those off of here, put it on this piece of 3/8 plate, cut those slots out, and now I have the capability to turn the whole chop saw rather than moving my material. That way I can utilize my table when I'm looking to make a 45-degree cut. Just go ahead and turn the whole saw, and then boom, there you go. I do have a locking pin in here that just drops in there to lock it in the 90-degree, but for everything else you've got that adjustability. So that's pretty nice. I wish they would make chop saws more like a miter saw. I don't know why they don't. I suppose for cost effectiveness, and generally these things are like on job sites, and you just move the saw. So but for guys that are kind of running them in inside the shop and whatnot, something like this is a lot better. I wish they would make a chop saw like that. As far as I know, I've never seen one, but that's what I wanted, so that's what I went with. As far as the chop saw itself, the motor and whatnot, this one here has been great. I've replaced the brushes in it once. I've had it for more than a couple years now, and it's done me great. So as far as the chop saw itself, the motor and whatnot, that Dewalt's been holding up pretty good. But the table, it's just made out of some 2-inch square tube, and then I've got some chain link fence pipe that I used as my upright legs, and I've got a small storage rack down there for some cut material, some drop pieces if I want to toss them down there. I do have a small drawer over here just for squares, some speed squares, tape measure, some chalk and stuff like that, so that way you kind of have all the tools that you need in order to mark out for a cut. So that'll be pretty nice to get that. Just all the tools that you need are right there. I did incorporate the Allen wrench. Dewalt gives you an Allen wrench right here with rubber grommet to make adjustments to your clamp mechanism or your angle mechanism back here. So I wanted to incorporate that. It's handy to have that Allen wrench just right there. So I went ahead and threw that in there as well. I like deburring my parts as I cut them if it's a small enough piece. So I've incorporated a spot to keep a small 4-inch grinder there, just to take those sharp edges and whatnot right after the cut. It just seems to be handy to be able to do that as the material's in your hand, and then kind of get set up for the next cut. I do like taking this whole cart outside, or at least I did for my other cart as well, to be able to take it outside and do all that nasty cutting outside, because there's lots of dust, lots of sparks that are produced with the chop saws. So being able to wheel them outside is really nice. So I've got these air tires, these pneumatic tires on there, and these swivel casters up front here, and that's really handy. This thing, you can take it up Everest if you wanted to. I mean, it rolls that nice. They're really, really good. For wheeling it outside, I thought it'd be nice to have a power distribution spot out here, so that way I've got a 25-foot cord here hooked up into this little power block here. That way I've got the chop saw, the angle grinder, and maybe a spot to plug in a drop light or something like that if I need to do some cutting. And an extra spot, I was looking at putting in a dust collection system for this as well. So that's an option that I'm looking at. So it's just kind of nice to be able to plug in one cord and have a nice spot for power outside. So just have a simple spot back here to hold all my extra wheels and whatnot. It's just nice to be able to keep all that stuff on the cart ready to rock and roll. I don't have to go to a cabinet and get my wheels out. They're just boom right there. I'm kind of leaving this spot open here. You know, I've got this grating to catch any small pieces that might fall down. So that's pretty nice, but I've also got plans to make a sheet or a kind of a pan that would go in here to also catch sparks and whatnot. So I'm kind of up in the air on that. So we'll kind of see how that goes. But really, it's a pretty basic cart, but I think it suits my needs pretty well. You know, it's a nice size, about 6 foot long there, and it gives me all the flexibility that I want, being able to easily make my 45-degree cuts. You know, spot for power, you know, deburring, all in one station. It's just really nice. So pretty happy with how that turned out, and I think it's a nice upgrade from what I had. The other cart was really handy, but with the newer shop that I'm looking at moving to, this will be better suited for that larger space. So I did think about putting in some slide outs here to catch some of the longer pieces of material that would slide out here. And I figured if I've got some longer pieces like that, I'll just drop some jack stands and work off of that. That's no big deal at all. So all in all, pretty happy with how that turned out, and I'm really excited to get to using it. So thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next video.